Hello guys, this is Siddharth of SS.Embedded World. Today I'm gonna explain you about Arduino, its pin description, and different types of Arduino boards, etc. To implement a project on Arduino after understanding the concept, you need to download the Proteus and Arduino IDE softwares. If you already have them, it's cool. You can do your simulation and program your controller. If not, don't be sad. We have done some videos on them. Just click on the card above on the screen and you will be redirected to them. Now we will know about Arduino. There is a website where you can find the documentation, blog, etc. on Arduino. Let's take a look at the website once. This is the original website of Arduino. Here you can find the documentation and the Arduino IDE software, and there is also a huge community and a blog, and you can also buy the original Arduino boards. There are also various projects available here. Just take a look at this website. The link of the website is available in the description guys, please check it out. Now let's take a look at the documentation we have prepared for you guys. Firstly, let's see what is meant by Arduino. Arduino is an open source hardware and software company, project and user community that designs and manufactures single board microcontrollers and microcontroller kits for building digital devices. It produces Arduino microcontroller boards and can be programmed by using Arduino IDE, where IDE means Integrated Development Environment. The block diagram of how Arduino controller works is as below. There is an input, there is an Arduino controller, and there is an actuator like motors, etc. Here, the data is taken by the Arduino controller from the sensor attached to it. The data from the sensor can be analog or digital. Based upon the data, the sensor is connected to the respected pin of the Arduino. Then the Arduino processes the data, and according to the logic we have programmed, the Arduino using IDE controls the actuators or LED, etc. This is how the Arduino works. Now let us take a look at the types of Arduino boards. There are various types of Arduino boards like UNO, Nano, Mega, etc. The widely used Arduino board is UNO, and for beginners, UNO is a good option to start with. Based on our application, we can use different types of Arduino boards. They differ by the type of controller or clock speed or number of input-output pins, etc. It all depends on our application, which type of board we want to use. Below there is a table which consists of almost all the Arduino boards. Let's take a look at them. As you see here, all these boards consist of Atmega 328 microcontroller, and mostly we will be using the Arduino UNO R3 whose operating voltage is 5 volts and clock speed is 16 MHz, and digital input output pins are 14, analog input pins are 6, PWM pins are 6, UART pins are 1, and programming interface is done via USB. And you can take a look at all these boards and understand what is the difference between each board. Now let's take a look at the pin description of Arduino UNO. The first one is the USB port. This port is used to connect the Arduino board to your computer and program it. This is also a method to power up your Arduino board. Next, this is the power DC barrel jack. This is another method to power up your Arduino board. We will be using the charging adapter, which we will be converting AC to DC, and we will be stepping down the voltage to 12 volts. This 12 volts is given to the Arduino board by the charging adapter through this barrel jack. Next, this is the voltage regulator. Arduino works at a voltage of 3.3 volts to 5 volts. So the voltage provided by the DC barrel jack is 12 volts, which is to be stepped down and stabilized. This is done by using the voltage regulator and provides an adequate amount of voltage to power up the board. Next, this is the crystal oscillator. This is used for the timer and counter applications. The Arduino uses this to calculate the time. The clock frequency of UNO is 16 MHz. Next, this is the reset pin. By using this pin, we can reset the program in the microcontroller. It means the execution of the program starts from the initial position. Be careful while giving the voltage to this pin to reset, and refer the datasheet before doing it. According to a study, the voltage to be given to the reset should not be more than 3.6 volts. Next, the 3.3 volts pin. This pin provides an output voltage of 3.3 volts to power up the external devices which are connected to Arduino. Next, the 5 volts pin. This pin provides an output voltage of 5 volts to power the external devices which are connected to Arduino. Next, this is the ground pins. Generally, there are 3 ground pins on this board. This is the first ground pin, this is the second ground pin, and another ground pin is present on the opposite side here. As you see, this is the another ground pin. These ground pins are used to ground the Arduino controller or the external devices connected to the board. V in pin. This pin is another way to power up the Arduino board. The maximum voltage to be given through this pin is 5 volts. Next, the analog pins. These pins are used to take the analog data from the analog sensors. There are 6 analog pins in UNO from A0 to A5. These pins are generally the input pins only. Next, this is the main microcontroller. This is the brain of the Arduino board. This microcontroller changes for different Arduino boards. You can refer the data sheet of the controller to know more about the controller. In UNO, 8MEGA328P controller is used. Next, this is the ICSP pin. ICSP is a tiny programming header for the Arduino controller consisting of MOSI, MISO, SCK, reset, VCC and ground. It is also referred to as SPI, which means Serial Peripheral Interface, which is used for serial communication where the data is transferred bit to bit. Next, this is the power indicator. This is a LED which shows that the Arduino board is powered up. Next, here comes the TX and RX LEDs. These are the two LEDs which are connected to serial communication. TX means to transmit and RX means to receive. TX LED blinks when we transmit data and RX LED blinks when we receive data. The rate at which these LEDs blink depends upon the rate at which the Arduino board transmits and receives the data which is internally connected to the baud rate. Next, these are the digital pins. These pins are used to take the digital data from the digital sensors and also to send the digital data to the digital devices connected to Arduino. The digital pins can be used for both input and output operations. There are 13 digital pins in Arduino UNO. In these pins, there are some special pins which we have some extra characteristics apart from being the digital pins. Let us take a look at them. Pin 0 and pin 1. These pins are used for serial communication, where pin 0 is the RX pin and pin 1 is the TX pin. Next, here comes the PWM pins. There are 6 PWM pins, where PWM means pulse width modulation. The PWM pins among the digital pins are 11, 10, 9, 6, 5 and 3. We can produce an output voltage between 0 volts to 5 volts using these pins. Next, the AREF pin, which means analog reference pin. It is sometimes used to set an external reference voltage between 0 to 5 volts as the upper limit of the analog input pins. Next, here comes the reset button. This is similar to the reset pin we have discussed above. This button is used to run the program from the initial position on clicking the reset button. This is something you need to know about Arduino before using it. Now let us see how we can use this Arduino board in Proteus. Basically, we are using the Proteus for simulation, right? In Proteus, we do not have the inbuilt libraries for Arduino. So we need to add the libraries to use Arduino in Proteus. So there is a website in order to download the library files. This is the website where you can find the Arduino libraries. Just scroll down a bit where you can find the link to download the library files. The link of this website is also available in the description. Please check it out. Now I will show you how to add the libraries to your Proteus so that you can access the Arduino. Just open where your Proteus is present and you can find a folder called as library. Just open it and just copy the extracted files from the rar file to the library folder, and now you can access the libraries of the Arduino. Now you can actually access the Arduino files. Let's take a look at it. Just type Arduino and you can see you can find Arduino Mega, Arduino Mini, Arduino Nano, Arduino Pro Mini, Arduino UNO, etc. Now we will just connect a bulb to the Arduino and see if it is working or not. Now just click on the play button. I have already added the hex file to the Arduino board. If you don't know how to add the hex file to your Arduino board, we have done already a previous video on the introduction to Arduino IDE. We will provide the link below in the description. Just take a look at it. Now just click on the play button and as you see the bulb glows. Now just click on the stop and here the bulb stops glowing. The document is available for you guys. The link is below in the description. That's all guys. In the later videos, we will see more about Arduino functions and how to use the Arduino practically and how to interface different motors, LCDs using Arduino, etc. Please like, share and subscribe to SS Embedded World and hit on the bell icon for further updates. Please keep supporting us and we will come with more interesting videos.